Hey cruisers, I'm Sherry with CruiseTipsTV.com. Welcome back to Cruise Questions Today. This is a special series during Vlogtoberfest where we answer the questions that are coming in the comment section here on our channel this month. We're answering them for everyone to hear and see the answers. If you're new and you're not subscribed, hey, what's up with that? Click that subscribe button. We'd love to welcome you. Keep you around for future travel vlogs. We've got some good travel vlogs coming, by the way, guys. We actually vlogged our last cruise. It's going to happen. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be so much fun. So today we're gonna be answering cruise questions, our first of which is from Alfred Collins. Alfred said, do you have any videos of the Panama Canal for packing? And you know what? We sure do, Alfred. It's a little bit of a dated video. We're gonna link to it down in the description. It's a good video. We were going on the Panama Canal and Caribbean cruise, which most cruises to the Panama Canal are kind of both, right? Like you're going to hit the Panama Canal after you go to a few Caribbean ports and you're gonna maybe do a partial transit, or if you're doing a full transit, you might start in Los Angeles, end in Florida, or vice versa. So there's a lot of constants with Panama Canal packing that are pretty much true despite what type of Panama Canal cruise you're doing, whether it's a full transit or whether it's a partial transit. The reality is for the time you're in the Panama Canal and the Caribbean, it's going to be very warm. Plan on it being very hot and muggy. There's a reason why Panama Canal cruises don't happen year round, because the weather is really inhospitable in some of those months. And so you're probably cruising like November, December, April, that type of thing, but it's still gonna be hot. We were talking about this on a live stream today, and I was telling someone who asked about Panama Canal packing that one of the best things you can do is plan on being extra sweaty, because you're going to be dealing with humidity. You're either going to want to potentially do laundry if your cruise ship offers it, or have a couple of different outfits for each day. You might wear an outfit in the morning and by 2 o'clock you might feel like changing into something else. This is not a normal thing for me to recommend because we're pretty minimalist packers here at Cruise Tips TV, but it was a reality that we kind of stumbled upon when we cruised to the Panama Canal. So that's our packing tip for you. Of course, watch our video. Focus on cool, breathable clothing. Most of the time that's actually cotton clothing. You may want to avoid synthetics like polyester. They might make you feel sweaty. Like this shirt that I'm wearing right now, I probably wouldn't take this to the Panama Canal. It's a synthetic fabric. It's not very breathable. It's going to make me feel hot and sweaty and kind of stinky, and it just probably wouldn't work out. Comfortable walking shoes for your excursions, flip-flops, swimsuits, enjoy the pools on your Panama Canal cruise, and just focus on resort wear that's nice and breathable. Alfred, I hope that was helpful, and I hope you watched the video that we linked to below. Thea Wilson, oh, I love this. She said, can you tell me, how do C-bands work? Do you wear them the whole time you're on a ship or just when you feel sick? So Thea just saw our motion sickness prevention video, which we will link to down below. We had 5 tips for preventing motion sickness. One of the products that we recommended in that video is a natural remedy for motion sickness, and that is called a C-band. It's a bracelet that goes around both of your wrists, and it has a little pressure point that goes just about right here that helps you to not feel nauseous. It's actually used for things like morning sickness, chemotherapy as well, or land-based motion sickness. And that pressure point there, when it is activated over time, can help you to feel a little bit better. So what Thea wants to know is, should you wear them all the time, or should you just wear them when you're starting to feel woozy? My advice for you, Thea, is if you're prone to motion sickness, I would definitely wear them a good amount of the time. I don't think you need to sleep in them by any means, but maybe when you wake up in the morning, pop them on and see if that helps you. You could wait and see if you experience motion sickness at all. Get on the ship, do nothing, and just see what happens. That's one option. People I know that get very motion sickness actually wear them when they're walking onto the ship. So they actually put them on before they get on the ship, because even when the ship is not moving, sometimes the moment they get on, they start to feel a little bit of a sensation of dizziness or wooziness, and they're like, okay, I need these. If you need more serious help with it, you could always try over-the-counter or prescription medications, or even the relief band, which also works on that pressure point, but is going to send some pulses to the nerves there. So lots of different options. Watch our motion sickness video. If you're new, obviously Thea's already seen it, but Thea, it's up to you. I would say, if you get nauseous at all once, leave them on. Maybe take them off to sleep. Iced Mama is going on a solo cruise next year. How fun. She's like, what should I do? Should I do a short cruise on Royal Caribbean? What are your suggestions? Well, Iced Mama, I think Royal Caribbean's a good choice. I also think Norwegian is a good choice because Norwegian has a solo lounge and they also have solo studio cabins and they have activities for solos. So I think that's a good idea. When you say short, I wouldn't recommend a 2 or 3 night cruise. For most anyone, I think they're exhausting. I'd say a 5 to 7 night cruise might be a nice start for you. And maybe try Norwegian and see how you like it. Captain Nemo said, I'm cruising on Discovery Princess on the 29th. I purchased the drink and gratuity package. Do we still need to tip bartenders and room service, or is that included in the gratuity package? Captain Nemo, it is already included. Most people do tip a little bit more throughout their cruise. That doesn't mean they tip on every drink or all the time, and it doesn't mean they tip a lot. You could give them an extra $1 in cash every time. You will not be presented with a receipt to tip though, so you can't really write those tips in. So if you want to tip your bartenders, I suggest you take cash. Some people also have another strategy with tipping. They might want to find a bartender to connect with on day one, where you're like, I really like you, you're awesome, I can tell you're a good bartender. Slip them a 5, a 10, a 20, whatever you want, and keep going back to that bartender. They might recognize you a little bit more. They might remember your preferences a little bit more. It might just make a nice relationship throughout the cruise. But no, they're included. You've probably already paid 18%. You don't have to. But if you're drinking a lot of drinks throughout the day and you feel like, well, I think I should give them a little more. I tipped 18%, but maybe that 18% was only on a certain amount. You could give them more. Give them some cash, but make sure it's in cash because you can't sign for it anymore. Our last question for today's episode is from Nancy. She said, where do you find reef-friendly sunscreens? My daughter and I couldn't find one for our recent trip to the Caribbean. We looked at home in New York, we looked in Fort Lauderdale, we looked on board the ship, and no reef-safe sunscreens were available, and nobody knew what we were talking about. Okay, Nancy, that's because they're hard to find. And I want to tell you there is a difference between reef-friendly and reef-safe. One of the things that Nancy the reason she's bringing this up is because a lot of excursions these days, in their description of their excursion, they'll say to you, reef-friendly sunscreen only. You're like, what do I do here? Now, certain products like Sun Bum, I'm looking to see if I have any in here and I don't, are reef-friendly by nature. All of their products are reef-friendly for the most part, and they will tell you that. Reef-safe is a completely different designation where there's certain ingredients that are not included, and on certain occasions, if you're going to a coral reef or something, that excursion company will not allow you to apply a different type of sunscreen. What I've seen though is that this is rarely enforced. So I would try to buy some on Amazon. I'm gonna link to some reef-friendly and reef-safe sunscreens in the description of this video that you can try. If it looks like they are adamant about you having a reef-safe sunscreen, buy it on Amazon before your cruise and take it with you. And if not, ask them when you get there. When you pull up to the excursion, just say, hey, I noticed that you mentioned the reef-friendly sunscreens are reef-safe. This is the sunscreen I have. Do you have another type of sunscreen available for purchase? Sometimes they'll be like, oh no, you're fine, don't worry about it. Other times they'll be like, oh, you absolutely have to use this type of sunscreen, and they'll want you to buy it. In some occasions, it's a little bit scammy, where they might just be trying to sell you sunscreen, but that's actually pretty rare anymore. I've seen that a few times in the Caribbean, but it's been a long time. So just be educated about it, and if you can, pack some with you in your suitcase. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. Of course, if you have your own cruise questions, and if you like this series, let us know your thoughts down below. Leave your questions there. You're always welcome to do so. We'll do our best to either answer them in the comments or on a video just like this. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. We would love to invite you to cruise along with us. Until next time, we'll see you on the high seas. Bye-bye.